Been doing some thinking about well-being, and I wonder if this is like a ADHD person specific thing. But I feel like you can almost do too much by trying to do something good. You can be doing something bad. And it was only this week, only 3 days ago, that I set out on this, thinking of, I want to film and document doing the right things for my health and my mental health, my physical health, now that I've turned 30, and, you know, seeing about what good positive change I can make. And already I realised that it's just not the right approach, because I'm trying to do something good. And if you force something, it's never going to work, is it? It's never going to be natural. And I think almost all of mental well-being is stuff that works. It has to work with your life, and it has to fit in with your psyche, I guess. And someone can tell you, oh, you gotta do this walk, you gotta read this many pages a day, you gotta meditate for this amount of time, you gotta do this yoga every morning. But fundamentally, if you don't like doing that, and it feels like an effort to do that, and it feels like you're trying to be too perfect in making your life well, then it's doing the opposite, right? And I think maybe there's a lot of sort of social media is to blame for this kind of stuff, of like seeing people living the perfect life and a productive life and a life with lots of disposable income, um, on holiday all the time, really good shape, putting on like really nice meals, eating out and stuff like that, and always, you know, makes you feel like, well, the life that I'm living isn't good enough until it gets to the point that they're at. And so you live your life almost in a constant state of trying to make improvements to get to this point. But the entire time you're ignoring the fact that you are living life right now. And so that's doing the opposite, isn't it? It's like in trying to make yourself happy and and achieving wellness or whatever, you are actually making sure that you don't achieve it. And so the best thing to do isn't to do, it's not to do nothing, but the best thing to do is to just sort of choose the things that you want to do that make you happy, to the point, but yeah, taking in consideration the entire time that there are things that are obviously, bad for you for the long term. So I guess is like, it's probably straightforward to lots of people, but I feel like for my mind it's really hard to kind of get stuck in the cycle of trying to choose the things that I think are productive and good and that I should be doing, rather than choosing the things that I want to do. And so what I've started out, this channel or series of videos, where it started out of being about doing the right things, I'm now going completely back on that. No, don't do the right things. Do the things that you want to do. And so what I'm going to be doing is just basically just doing what I want to do, essentially, and documenting that if I want to document it. Don't document it if I don't want to document it. I'll film in the way that I want to film it, and just like take the pressure off. I wonder if other people with ADHD or neurodivergences think in a similar way to this and get stuck in these patterns of feeling like they should be doing something. So, yeah, here's now a video on how I thought it was going to be, how I thought this video was going to go, and how this channel was going to go, and how it's actually going to go. So, here we go. And like, I started here, and this is me being like, oh look, I'm going for a walk in the morning. I'm setting off for a walk in the morning before work, and I'm eating a nice nutritional meal, and I've made it all from scratch and filming it all, and just like, this is how productive and healthy I'm being. I'm sitting down to read a book on an evening. I'm reading this book about Russian history, and I mean, it's all forced though, isn't it? It's like, you can just go for a walk because you want to go for a walk. You can eat healthy because you want to eat healthy. You could read because you want to read. But if you're doing it all just for the sake of because it looks good or because you think it's good, then none of that is good then, is it? And so it's made me think, what is the best way to live? And is there even a best way to live? Because undoubtedly, there are things that, you might not want to do, but are good for you and that you should do. And if you chose all the options that made you happy all the time, then that can, obviously lead to a path of self-destruction. But then if you go for the things that are technically really good for you and would extend your life and make you live a healthier life as possible, then you can spend it being miserable by not doing the things that, might take away a few weeks, months here or there, but in the end run, it's probably worth it, right? So, like, if we're looking at some examples, I guess you could look at things divided into, like, if it's good for you and it makes you happy, then that's perfect. If it's bad but makes you happy, then you should still do it. If it's bad and it makes you unhappy, then obviously you should avoid it, but we don't always do that. And if it's good for you but it doesn't make you happy, then you can just do it in minimal amounts, I suppose. And I suppose what it all comes down to mainly is balance and making sure that you're not trying to do things that you don't want to do and trying to be, 99% perfect and productive and only allowing 1% for, messing up and doing fun stuff. And it's about being conscious, I guess, in the beginning to make sure that you got that balance right. And then I suppose what you would hope is that over time it becomes more routine, that you start to understand the balance. And maybe this is something that when you don't have ADHD, it's just easier to kind of automatically have that balance. But yeah, interesting.